Joe Moretti.
What's up, Ryan?
What's up, man? Thought we'd jump on here. It's been a little bit of time since we posted any podcast at Sims Coaching Systems.
Yeah, it's been well over a month, I think. We were consistent. We went it's gotta be close to 2 years.
Yeah.
Like it had to be 2 years.
Every week.
Every week for 2 years. And then
change. Why don't we do it every week?
Why don't we do it every week? Well, yeah, it's funny. People are probably looking at us right now and they're like, wow, you guys got like a bit of a, adjusting the camera here. You guys got a bit of a refreshed office, but no, no, we don't. We work from home, man. So we kind of moved out of Sims headquarters, and you're at your place, I'm at mine. And so we just, we're not in the office like we used to be. So I think that's probably a huge factor. Mm-hmm. Proximity.
Yeah, it's weird, actually. Working from home, it's got its ups and it's got its downs, right? Ups being productivity can be pretty good, right? When you don't have someone asking you to do something all the time.
Productivity. It's funny. I think productivity actually ends up going through the roof. It's almost like you have something to prove from working from home. I mean, Jason and I did this from mid 2020 all the way to 2022. So for 2 years, Jay and I, we worked from home when we ran these companies by ourselves. And then we were back in the office for, close to another 2 years. And here we are.
Yeah, man. I mean, the ups are productivity. The downs are you miss that connection that you have, right? Like being, in the same building with like you and Jason and all the shenanigans and funny things that happen throughout the week. We miss those now, right? And when you go in there, it's like it's loud. There's a lot of people, and it's harder to really just dial into what you need to do. But yeah, man, I think it's good, and I think it's got its goods and its bads. But consistency on the podcast, we've kind of slowed down. I think we're going to revisit what it looks like, and maybe hopefully do something like once a month. Just make it a little bit longer. Do something that way. Other thing that I was thinking about was it would be great to have some of our students come on, right? And connect with them and find out what's working well for them in the locations, right? We have a lot of students all over the world. And recently I've noticed an influx of students from Toronto for some reason. Yeah, a lot of Toronto students, Toronto and Calgary, and Calgary students all seem to be named Ryan, which is
funny how that works, man. It's interesting. I mean, we've definitely ramped up our marketing machine more than we've ever ramped it up before. So yeah, we have a lot of people that we're talking to right now that are in a spot where they need the help, right? We are a skills-based training company. And a lot of people out there really, really need that right now. And it's a difficult market. So I think it's all about who you're in very close proximity with. I think that's a really big piece. And, it's funny, like we did this podcast for years and years and years where we sort of give people like a glimpse into, who we are, what we do. And we've kind of closed that. I don't know if you want to say close that chapter, but just not, I don't know, man. And maybe part of it's me. I kind of lost like the flair for it in the beginning. Like they're pretty thought out, pretty planned. And then in the end, we were just kind of like, almost felt like we were doing them for the sake of doing them. And I think that going through the motions for me just was like a bit of a turnoff. And so part of it was me. I will completely admit that I just felt like we were doing something for the sake of doing it. The value wasn't there. And if we're taking up people's time, I want to make sure that we're filling it with something. And so that's kind of why we sort of moved away, and we're just kind of in that readjusting period where we want to figure out what it looks like going forward.
Yeah. I mean, there's always things that we can change and always things that we can do differently. Doing it once a week is hard, right? It's a major commitment. And for anyone that's listening that is doing a podcast, I'm sure they feel the same way. I listen to a handful of people that are on podcasts, and I notice like some guys, like the one guy that I really like listening to, he only posts like every 3 months, but it's like a 3-hour podcast. right? And then, like, I listen to the whole 3 hours. But then there's those other ones that are consistent, like once a month, and they're, an hour and a half to an hour podcast. But they talk about lots of stuff. It's not just related to their field, right? Like for us, we've all got things going on, right? And really, I think a lot of the people that we work with, um, and you can tell me if you think differently, but they really care about who we are as people, right? And I think they feel that way because of the connection that they get through a lot of our classes, which all of our classes are live, which is a huge, huge thing, right? So
Mhm.
connection is everything. And I think a lot of those people feel connected, but you almost feel like you know someone, but you don't really know them. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so interesting doing what we do. I think that there's a lot of people that come into our circle, our sphere, like our tribe, our little gang. They come in for so many different things, and one of the things people come into is for a sense of belonging and connection. And as I mentioned, like proximity and network, and that's something that we like to provide. And it's funny, like you go on, I go on these calls. So I run the first 6 weeks of the academy. Right now, I'm doing the like AM huddles. I'm doing like the 7 a.m. Like I'm kind of like trying to stick handle everything. And yeah, it's definitely exhausting doing it all. And the part that I struggle, and that I try my best. I guess maybe it's not a struggle. I just consciously try. Is I always try to be on. I always try to be switched on and engaged, because I know that there's somebody out there who needs the message that day as we're delivering it. And in the academy today, it was actually day one, week one of the like our academy resets every 12 weeks. And it was business planning, which we always start with, which I think is a key piece. But we were talking about this one piece, and I can't take credit for it. It's a Dean Philpott special, but it's something that's resonated with me for the last 5 years. With the keys to mindset, a person, a place, a book. And today, I actually I struggled with the mantra piece, because from my aspect, like I always say, like I come in with as much energy and enthusiasm as I can, because
Mhm.
that's what I know people need, and I need to make sure that they take that away. And today, like I definitely sort of struggled through it a little bit. And like I got, everybody has stuff going on. Everybody's got stuff in the background, like that white noise, that constant buzzing in the background of family and friends and responsibilities. And yeah, for me, I'm not gonna lie, like right now, like it's a struggle for me coming in, and it's a struggle for me showing up, and it's a struggle for me bringing a lot of energy. Like I got some shit on the go. And
Yeah.
like this for me is like, it's not a low point by any means, but I'm feeling like just like I'm on a tightrope.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, some of the personal things you're going through in life, right? And I know you don't share that with everyone, but that is something that would definitely, make it hard. And it's really interesting to watch you on the calls, because even though I know you're going through a lot of those struggles, right, and those things that are, not easy to navigate, right, in any way, right, and you're going through them, but when you're on the call, it's like you're there, right? And dude, you do an amazing job at that. Like when you're there for the people. Like you are delivering no matter what's going on, which is pretty insane, man. I am pretty emotional in terms of, I like to wear my emotions on my sleeve. Like if something's, pissing me off, most people know. I think Jason knows, like when I'm not happy, he knows right away that Zinger's not happy, right? But it's hard to disconnect. So like for the people listening, like what motivates you to be able to like disconnect and just go hard on what you're focusing on at the time? Maybe it's a class, business planning. I know we did that today, but
Mhm.
how do you do it, man?
I don't know. I, I don't know. I guess for me, like I'm just so tethered to my why, that really no matter what happens to me in life, I owe it to people. Like I owe it to our students that I need to come in. I need to show up, because when we talk about like mantras, I know what it's like to not know where your mortgage payments are coming from. I know what it's like to have to explain that to your wife and be like, I don't know where we're going to get money from this month. I don't know. And so for me, I show up for the one person who I know is there. They're at that part. They're at that point of making that phone call. They're at that point of telling a spouse or a loved one or somebody that, hey, like I'm at the bottom and I don't know which way is up. So I show up for that person. And so for me, I'm able to take anything that I'm feeling, anything that I'm going through, and put it on a shelf and show up, because that's the person. I always say that's the person I'm talking to.
Right.
Who's at that part. And yeah, like I'm a pretty private person. It's funny, like he's like, I've had actually people reach out and say that to me, that it's funny, like you sort of get to know Jason and you always know what's going on. And with me, like I'm super guarded.
Yeah.
For as open as I am, I'm just the way I've always been. Like
Yeah.
I'm just a very guarded individual. And I mean, I'll be candid with what's happening. Like I'll be open and I'll be honest about it. Like I've got a family member who's 10 days older than me, 12 days older than me, 45 years old, and he's got high side like 2 weeks left to live with cancer. So for me, it's my cousin, and he is as close to a brother as I ever had growing up as an only child, with him living 4 houses away for 15 years. So for me, I've got that in my mind, and I've just tried my best to spend as much time with them as I can, and do everything I can. But yeah, it's like in the back of my mind, every time my phone goes off or my phone rings, like, I'm waiting for something, and I don't know what. I think I'm almost waiting for some absolution of somebody saying like, hey man, your cousin's going to be all right, even though we all know that that's not the case. And yeah, it's just, I'm finding that it's just like ingrained itself in my mind. And I guess for me, when I show up on a lot of these calls, I guess for the selfish side, it's almost like an escape. Like can show up on this call and I can forget about that just for a minute. Well, 60 minutes, I guess.
Or a little
90,
longer in some days' case.
yeah, 95 minutes today was the our 60-minute academy call. Ended up definitely going well over. But it's that moment where I can sit down and I can sort of decompress, and maybe I can just be somebody else for a few minutes before I get back to, that place of worry and doubt. So yeah, like I'm in it. I'm going through it just like everybody. Everybody has their shit. And I think that it's the people that make excuses, that kind of say like, okay, I'm going through some shit. I got this I got this, I got this. And it's an excuse as to why they can't propel themselves forward.
Right.
Life is this beautiful randomness of occurrences. I mean, we're all just a bunch of pieces of energy bouncing off of everything. And in the big scheme of things, we're less than a millionth of a speck of the tiniest piece of dust in the universe. And sometimes for me, like I need these coaching sessions to compartmentalize it and then move
Right.
forward. So it's almost cathartic getting in and pretending that everything's okay for an hour.
Man, that's interesting. I mean, thank you for sharing. I know that's tough, right? And I know we've had lots of conversations about it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest things is the stories that you tell, man. You're like a storyteller. You're the like facilitator, the storyteller. You're like that guy, and I can tell how much that individual means to you just from the stories that you've shared with me, right? Like it's almost like I was there when you tell the story. Like you're really good at
Yeah.
like delivering on that, man. And just all the positive memories. And another thing you said is like we're like micro dust piece of one person with a small problem. There's so many people out there that have a lot of those problems, right? And some people deal with it a lot differently. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's just a matter of time to know how you're going to deal with those type of things, right? A lot of our students that we actually have very interesting stories or things that are holding them back, right? And when I think about it, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but there's people that have relatives in the same similar situation to you, people that have lived a really crazy real estate journey. I wouldn't say a business, but a journey, right? the high
Hmm.
paying job, and no sight and end of what the end game is. And they're on this roller coaster of emotions, right? And
Oh yeah.
then you throw in some deeper personal things that happen in their lives with family and friends, and inconsistency in a lot of aspects of their life, and some of it even relates back to health, right? Where we've met people that we've worked with that have done okay financially, but health wise, they've driven themselves like right into the ground, right? So there's a lot of moving parts there when it
Yeah.
comes to what's
It's
right, what's wrong, and how to navigate everything. And dude, I just think it's really crazy how you can go from being in one place and then lock that and go and just do what you need to do. I wish I could do that because I know I can't. I know that's not my superpower,
Mhm.
man. Like that is a superpower for you for sure. You're able to take things and channel energy in a different way.
Yeah, it's I find that for me the biggest trick is called counterbalance.
Mm,
So when I'm all the way, in one sort of like feeling center, like I'll allow myself to experience all the pain, everything. And when it's time to switch back, yeah, I'll turn it off and I'll experience everything else. Like today I got to experience, you know, 35 agents coming in and learning about business planning and watching people put their hands up. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. I do that same thing. I can relate, help, help, help. To me, like I'm able to fully engage. And then when I'm done, then I can go back to feeling whatever I'm feeling. So I think counterbalance, like, and just realizing that I can't mix those two emotions. The minute I show up and I'm swallowed by an element of grief, nobody's going to get that.
mm,
And, again, man, it's like the show must go on,
yeah.
right? People need us to move their business forward. If they didn't need us, they wouldn't call us.
Mhm.
If they didn't call us, it meant because they can do it on their own, but they can't. So the people that are there, like our students, like they're counting on us to move that forward. So again, like I feel a sense of duty and obligation that I owe it to people to come and just, if you're investing your time with Sims coaching systems, there needs to be 10x value for every 1 second you put in. There needs to be 60 seconds coming back at you that you can implement and you can move your business forward. So I focus. I just switch focus,
Mhm.
and like I've got like all sorts of constant reminders around me. Like if I actually adjust my camera and I go up, like my cousin had a benefit concert, and so I've got, it's up there, it's framed like the concert poster and my ticket and stuff. So for me, I just have constant reminders as to, hey, I'm still here.
Mhm.
I need to move forward. I can't dwell. I need to focus, and I just kind of like channel it in, and away we go. I don't know, man. Like I said, I wish there was some type of secret. I truly do, but sadly there isn't.
Mhm. Yeah, man. I don't even know what to say from there. But and I just yeah, it's interesting how you're able to do that. Let's switch gears though, man.
Yeah, let's flip it, and it's the
Let's,
last thing I'm going to say is everybody
we're not
every
done.
what was that?
We're not done yet. This isn't a 10-minute, 20-minute podcast. We still
Oh
have
shit.
stuff to
Well, I
talk.
was going to say again before we leave this topic and go on to whatever's next in your bag of tricks. You know, everybody's going to go through something.
Mhm.
Everybody does. There's always shit. There's always shit. And just know that you need to surround yourself with people who will help you with that baggage, right? You don't have to carry those bags on your own. There's other people out there that'll help you. Maybe helping you is listening, trying to listen empathetically. Maybe it's just acknowledging that somebody's going through something, or maybe it's just sitting silently with somebody and not talking, or maybe it's just checking in. But you've been really instrumental over the last because it's been probably 6 months now. So we'll say you've been very instrumental in me being able to like rise above a lot of the events that are happening. Like everybody needs that one person. And
Mhm.
through this, I've got my wife and I've got my kids, but outside of that home nucleus, like I have you, and that's just something that I'm really grateful for.
Mhm. Oh, I appreciate that, man. And you know, if the shoe was on the other foot, someone has told me this before. you do the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like everyone's going through things, right? I've been going through things in my life, right? Jay's been going through a lot of stuff in his life over the last year and a bit, right? You've been going through a lot. I mean, everyone goes through things,
Mhm.
and a lot of students that we work with go through a lot of things. And there's that different mindset too, right? It's like, yeah, okay, I can't do this because of this, this, and this. Or there's the other mindset where it's like, I need to do this. I need to be in a good place. I need to put myself in different rooms with different people. I think that's, a lot about what we do. One of the biggest things for me that I love to hear is like students that are winning out there. Like today, when you share that story about two of the students in an open house, like that's so cool, right? Like talking to students that have lost 7 listing appointments in a row, and then all of a sudden now they just closed their ninth in a row, right?
Mhm.
People that actually are taking their craft seriously and come in and learn the fundamental skills. But learning the skills is one thing, and practicing them is something different, right? So I love seeing that, man. Like this week, that win for those guys, like that's huge.
Yeah, it really is. And when I look at, again, well, obviously due to anonymity, we'll just use
I
first names.
give a shout out, man.
No, no, all right, all right.
Those
So
are going to listen to this. We'll find out.
we're gonna find out.
And how
Uh,
involved they are with us.
So, a guy who's actually turned out to be a pretty good friend of mine, Trevor Karn.
Yeah.
He's over in Chilliwack, and Neil Callahan, who again, super great guy, mortgage broker, just got licensed for real estate. Two guys that met each other on our agent academy.
Yeah.
They decided this weekend, the stars aligned, and they actually got together. And Trevor's been in real estate. I think it's like 7 years, 8 years. I know it's been a little while. Trevor, forgive me if I'm messing the numbers up, but been in real estate for a little while. And Neil, like just freshly licensed. He wasn't even licensed when he first
We
was
started, no?
enrolled in our academy. And these two guys, the stars lined up. They decided to run an open house together this weekend. Okay. Trevor got on one of our scripting calls this morning, and he told me that between the two of them, they figure that they've secured over $100,000 in potential GCI from pairing up and doing an open house. $100,000 in GCI from one open house. So again, it's who you surround yourself with. It is so important. We have two other coaching students, Sibo Zhang, Mike Richards. They met each other a year ago on our agent academy. And as the academy rolled in, like 45 days, halfway through, Mike ended up becoming Sibo's ISA. And they've just absolutely formed this lights out, like $1 million dream team.
Yeah.
We have one student that's closed 7 referrals. Seven from other students on our academy, right? Power of proximity, Ryan.
Yeah, totally. And I see Zebo and Mike are coming up on the leaderboard. VXP, they're on the board. So kudos to those guys for a job well done.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, when I think back about where I was 3 years ago, roughly, right when I was working a crazy job, having split days off from my partner, and you and Jason coming to my house and saying, "Hey, if you want to do something that actually changes people's lives, come work with us." And I remember at the time I was like, it didn't really register. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, like what does that even mean?" I was really curious, to be honest.
Mhm.
And then it took about a year before I understood, right? And just seeing like students get these wins is pretty amazing, man. Like some of the people that we've helped, like I think back at like, there's so many stories, but you think back, and the cool thing is we usually have a connection with those people,
Mhm.
right? Versus, I don't know, a million other coaching companies. It's just a lot different. I feel like ours is a lot different, right? It's more interactive, and we really
Yeah, I think
for the
ours is
most part know a lot about the people that we work with.
yeah, without a doubt. I mean, ours is definitely more interactive. I mean, you're not sitting there getting recorded pieces sent to you like day in day out. It's your responsibility to watch them. really what you're getting is you're getting a glimpse. You're paying for a glimpse at what it could look like. We've built the engine, like we've built the car, and you're getting a glimpse into the garage.
Mhm.
You're sitting with the mechanics as they're making their minor tweaks, because like it's funny, and somebody mentioned this today. They were like, this is my third time through your agent academy, our third time. Every time we've gotten something different, because our academy changes, man. Like you're never getting the same academy twice.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is that those people, I saw them on the call today. And what did they have in their hand? A notepad and a pen. And where
Yeah,
was their head 90% of the call?
yeah,
Writing
with their
notes.
hairline.
Like it is impactful. And I think one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs and especially real estate agents do is they get a little bit complacent when they start doing the deals and they forget to do a lot of the consistent activities that they're supposed to be doing. So when they come to these calls, they're looking to get right back on track, right? If they've been through our academy once, twice, three times, four times, whatever it may be, they're looking to get back on track. Because I think
Mhm.
what happens is people are on track for a certain period of time. And then when their pipeline starts filling up and they actually start transacting, that's when they start forgetting about a lot of the things that they need to be doing, which puts them back in the same spot.
Yeah, it's funny, people come in and they're like they need to learn, they want to learn. It's all about learning. And once they've done our academy, they come back and they try to learn some more. It's like learning is done. Now it's just a reminder. We switch from learning to reminding. And as I'm doing these business planning sessions, it's a lot of again, I can see a lot of people who are in different waves of the academy coming in, same thing, writing everything down.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn more. You don't need to learn more. You need to be reminded to implement.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to after that first run. And that's why I say like that first run of the academy, like your first time in it is so critical.
Yeah.
Make the sessions, make the time. Yes, life happens. But if you can commit to hitting those sessions, wow,
Yeah.
wow, what a game changer. Then all it is just reminders, an implementation check.
Yeah. And for anyone that's listening out there, right, that's done all these different training programs, I think one of the things that we learned, after the first couple of runs through was really that, we could teach people all of the skills. We could show them exactly what they need to do, literally almost in a manual, right? Like a blueprint that they could follow. But what we really found after those first couple waves, do you remember? Implementation was like very low, right? So we made a major course adjustment and started doing skills training 5 days a week, two different sessions, and half the time you're running all of them. So it's funny though, like right, because so many people go into these programs and they get a program and they have the best intentions, and the person that sells it to them maybe promises the world, who knows, right? But what they don't tell them is that it is a lot of work and that you have to put in the work, right? And
Mm-hmm.
one of the cool things that we do is we don't only just teach people, we practice and implement and practice basically what needs to happen, and get people actually comfortable so that they'll actually do step three, which is implementation.
Yeah, and that's a really great point. And smart isn't what you know, smart is what you do. And I think if people aren't practicing and aren't implementing all that knowledge, all that time, all those resources, like they're wasted, they're done.
Mhm.
You're not going to get them back because every day you're going to get further away from what you should have been doing. And yeah, like I love seeing people in there. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think that nothing's ever going to be perfect. Like it can't be perfect. So just come in, learn, practice, and then implement. It really is that simple.
I mean, you look at like a lot of like high level athletes, right? Like they practice consistently on their craft. You look at like people that have to do practicums. They have to do a practicum because they have to practice consistently before they can actually get into the field. And real estate is one of those industries that they literally will let you just get a license and not practice anything and just go out there and try to figure it out. Right. And some students that we have done that and found out the hard way. Some have decided before they're even licensed to join us. Some have joined us after 25, 30 years in the
Mhm.
business and have come in and really said, wow, this is totally different. right? We have to really educate them and let them know like this is going to be hard work. But I think there's that one saying, right? Nothing in life comes easy. And it is so fucking true, man. Nothing in life comes easy. It takes a lot of work to get what you really, truly want.
Yeah, nothing ever worth having comes easy, and that's it's a great saying, man. Thanks for bringing that up. And the other thing that I always find is once in a while, like I go on a lot of the call, like the discovery calls where people are asking about Sims coaching systems and what we can do, and everybody always asks the same question, right? What is your guaranteed success? Do you guarantee success? How do you guarantee success?
Yeah.
And my answer always kind of gets people thinking because I say, well, we don't. Like I have the work ethic. I can implement. I mean, you're the one with the issue. Like, you tell me, how successful will you be? I can't answer that. I can't gauge if you show up. I can smack you around a little bit if you're not, in terms of accountability. I can
Every
make sure
Friday,
you
buddy, every Friday.
every Friday. But what I can't do is I can't guarantee success. I can't change your mindset. I can't do anything other than try to inspire the will to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because I honestly think, I mean, people are either coming motivated or they're not. And if they're not motivated, like there's nothing I can't motivate anybody.
Right.
Like I can try, but there's nothing that I can do. People either need to be internally motivated or they're not. And if somebody is internally motivated, my job then is to inspire the will to win, but I can't motivate anybody. So I
Right.
can't guarantee success, just like I can't guarantee everybody's going to show up motivated. So is there guaranteed success? No, absolutely not. The only thing that's going to guarantee success is the measure of effort that you put in. I
Right.
think is a derivative as to what comes out.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree 100%. And here's the thing that like I know we're really committed to, right? Is we're gonna show up. And
Mm-hmm.
clearly, Joe, you've mentioned this throughout the beginning call. No matter what the fuck's happening in your life, man, you're there, right? And you're there to help those people. And so, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like that's locked and loaded. We're gonna make sure people are being impacted in a positive way. Monday through Friday, we're going to show up. We're going to do the skills training. And a lot of people come in like, what's the guarantee? What does it look like? Like, here's the guarantee. We're going to show up. We're going to blow the roof off the place. We're going to make sure that you can walk away with tangible things that you can actually do in your business. But what we need is we need people that are able to do three things. Really, that's it. They need to be able to show up, come with a growth-based mindset, right? Talking about the agents that have been in real estate for 20, 30 years that think one thing's not going to work. It will, trust me, we know, right? And then the last thing is implementation. But we're going to help with implementation by really practicing so much that people are going to be extremely comfortable to navigate a lot of the situations that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree, man. I agree. So with that, like we're let's wrap this thing up, man. I mean, it's been a
you
slice.
sure?
Is that?
You sure?
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I'm
Throw
sure.
it, man. Anything else? We should probably talk about where Jay is.
You can, yeah, you can broach that subject.
I mean, Jay's living the coaching on the road program currently, right?
Yeah.
He's doing some different things in life, so we're here to help support and let him work through his things that he has going on, right? But we're gonna try to get back to doing at least a podcast a month. I think that's something that's doable. I know, Joe, you're like, oh, I don't know, but like the cool thing about podcasts is it really doesn't have to be all about just providing something in real estate. And we tell this to our students all the time. No one really gives a shit about what you say. They care about how you make them feel. And I think a lot of people can relate to some of the stuff that you talked about today, right? About having things that are pulling them in different directions. And, this might be motivation for them to be able to like move forward, right? So there's good stuff here, man. And I appreciate your time, Joe. Appreciate hanging out with you. I shoot you a message like an hour ago. I was like, let's do a podcast at lunch. Snack your lunch down real quick. Let's just jump on there and throw some out to the
Yeah,
universe.
and I appreciate it, man. I really do, and I think that we have something special. We truly do. And for anybody who wants to reach out to us and who wants to sort of experience what we have, Ryan, how can they do that?
Yeah, you can just reach out to myself, Ryan at simscoachingsystems.com. Happy to hook you up with the demo pass, get you plugged in, get you to see what skills training is all about, and find out if what we do is maybe the right fit for you. If you're someone that's listening to our podcast and you've never had the chance to connect with myself, Joe, or Jason, we'd love to connect with you and learn a bit more about your business and see where it goes from there, right?
Love it.
All right, Joe. Happy
Another
Monday.
podcast in the books.
All right, man. We'll send it off. It'll get posted.
All right.
Joe. Take care.